Welcome to the show, my beautiful disaster. Every broken soul, every black sheep, every you'll never make it project. Yeah, this one's for you. You ever notice how quiet the room gets when you start doing what they swore you could never pull off? How the same people who laughed at you suddenly turn into statues, just staring like you pulled a rabbit out of a coffin. That's what happens when you start moving like Houdini. See, at first you were just a joke. They were comfortable when you were losing. They were relaxed when you were failing. Safe. You were the walking punchline, the example, the don't be like them. Then something snapped. You stopped playing the part they wrote for you. You stopped being the background character in their little script. You started escaping the limits, escaping the expectations, escaping the box they buried you in. And now they're watching you like you're doing black magic. They look at you like, how the hell are you still here? How are you not broken? How did you turn all that pain into power? Because in their head you were supposed to be finished. In their story, you were supposed to stay down, but now you're doing the impossible, and it terrifies them. Let's be real for a second. People love you weak. They love you dependent. They love you predictable, controllable, easy to read, easy to dismiss. But you went and ruined that. You survived things that should have wiped you out. You took betrayal and turned it into discipline. You took abandonment and turned it into self-respect. You took every no and welded it into armor. Now when you walk in, they don't see the old you. They see this glitch in the system. They see someone who wasn't supposed to make it, standing right there anyway. And that messes with their heads, because if you can escape the trap, that means they could have too. If you can change, that means they're out of excuses. And nothing scares a comfortable person more than losing their excuses. So now they stare. They stare when you speak with confidence. They stare when you say no without shaking. They stare when you stand on your boundaries like a locked steel door. They stare at your results, your progress, your glow-up, and it feels like a horror movie to them. Not because you're a villain, but because you're proof. Proof that the limits are fake. Proof that the narrative can be rewritten. Proof that they chose comfort over growth, while you chose pain over staying stuck. You want to know why they're scared of you now? It's not the money you might make. It's not the body you're building. It's not the followers, the status, or the success. It's the fact that you died and came back different. You let an old version of you burn. The soft, apologetic, always available, emotionally fragile version, gone, buried, done. And you didn't ask for permission. You didn't hold a meeting. You didn't submit a request. You didn't give them a chance to vote on your evolution. You just woke up one day and decided, you know what? I'm done begging to be understood. I'm done begging to be chosen. I'm done playing this weak role in a life that's supposed to be mine. That's the real escape act. That's the real disappearing trick. You disappeared from their control. You disappeared from their expectations. You disappeared from their little mental box with your name on it. And what came back? Something they can't label, something they can't predict, something they can't manipulate. You became dangerous, not because you hurt people, but because you can't be hurt the same way anymore. They can't dangle love over your head like a reward. They can't wave rejection in your face like a weapon. They can't use your past like a chain around your neck. You learned to sit in your own loneliness instead of crawling back to disrespect. You learned to build slowly instead of begging quickly. You learned to shut up, lock in, and outwork every person who ever doubted you. And now, every time you level up, they're watching, eyes wide, mouths shut, pretending not to see you, but refreshing your life like a timeline they can't stop stalking. Enemies staring at you like you're Houdini, huh? Of course they are, because you weren't supposed to escape that family trauma. You weren't supposed to escape that depression. You weren't supposed to escape that addiction, that heartbreak, that debt, that guilt, that shame. You weren't supposed to escape the version of you that they could dominate. But look at you. You escaped the expectations they nailed you to. You slipped out of the cuffs they put on your potential. You walked right out of the cage they built with their opinions. And the crazy part, you did it in plain sight. You didn't need a spotlight. You didn't need applause. You didn't need their validation. You just kept working, kept healing, kept showing up on the days you didn't even like yourself, kept moving when your heart felt like a busted glass window. You did the impossible on a random Tuesday when nobody was watching. That's what kills them, because they remember the jokes they made. They remember the times they dismissed you, brushed you off, rolled their eyes. They remember the group chats, the screenshots, the whispers. They remember betting against you. And now, every step you take forward is another receipt. Every win is a reminder. They were wrong about you. They underestimated you. They tried to bury you and just ended up planting you. So yeah, they're scared. Scared of your focus. Scared of your resilience. Scared of the version of you that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't fold. They're scared because the old tricks don't work anymore. The silent treatment, you treat it like peace. The disrespect, you walk away instead of performing for acceptance. The gossip, you let your results answer back louder than any rumor. You know what really terrifies them. You don't want revenge. You don't want their attention. You don't even want them to clap for you. You just don't care anymore. And nothing is scarier than someone who's not controlled by fear of loss. You're not scared to lose people who are willing to lose you. You're not scared to be alone if the alternative is being disrespected. You're not scared to start from zero if it means never going back to pretending. That's power, and people who live like prisoners in their own mind get terrified when they see someone living like that. They live chasing opinions. You live chasing purpose. They live chasing comfort. You live chasing growth. They live chasing attention. You live chasing mastery. Of course they stare. Of course they're whispering. Of course you feel their eyes on you when you walk in. You went from, "That can't be done," to, "How did they do that?" You went from, "They'll never be anything," to, "I always knew they were special," in their fake little rewrites of history. You see that? They edit the past to make themselves look less stupid. They'll pretend they supported you. They'll pretend they believed in you. They'll pretend they were in your corner from day one. And you don't even need to expose them. The truth is loud enough in how they moved when you were still in the dirt. Here's the twisted part. Some of them aren't scared you'll fail. They're scared you'll succeed so much that they can't reach you anymore. They're scared you'll heal so deeply they can't trigger you. They're scared you'll grow so much they can't talk to you the same way. They're scared you'll shine so bright that their little shadows vanish, so they'll do what scared people do. they'll minimize you. It's not that deep. They'll discredit you. They got lucky. They'll downgrade your progress. It's just a phase. They'll wait for the downfall. Watch, they can't keep this up. Let them. Let them sit in the stands while you run laps around the very limits they chose to worship. You know how crazy it is? Some of the people studying your every move are the same ones who never clapped when you needed it most. And that's your advantage. They don't understand what it feels like to build with no applause. They don't understand what it feels like to grind through tears, through anxiety, through heartbreak, through betrayal. They don't understand what it feels like to drag yourself through another day when your own mind is trying to kill your momentum. You do. You know what it's like to feel like nothing and still keep going. You know what it's like to hear you're wasting your time and still keep pushing. You know what it's like to be the only one who believes, and somehow that's enough. That's why you're dangerous, because people who've never been tested crumble when it gets real. But you were born in real. Your childhood wasn't pretty. Your relationships weren't safe. Your mind wasn't kind. Your environment wasn't supportive. You were trained in chaos. So when life throws punches now, you don't panic. You adjust. You adapt. You switch stance and keep swinging. You're not fragile anymore. And deep down, your enemies know that. They remember the version of you they could manipulate, the version of you they could gaslight, the version of you they could guilt trip into staying small. That version is gone. And that's your greatest magic trick. You disappeared from the old storyline without telling anyone. You walked off the stage of their expectations, mid-scene, mid-sentence. You stopped auditioning for roles that required you to shrink. You stopped caring about looking crazy and started caring about being free. That's why your journey looks impossible from the outside. They see the surface, new habits, new mindset, new standards, new circle, new life. They don't see the nights you wanted to give up. They don't see the mornings where getting out of bed felt like lifting a building. They don't see the breakdowns in silence, the rage inside, the doubt you swallowed just to get through another day. You paid the price in blood, and they want the receipt in the form of an explanation. How did you do it? What changed? What's the secret? Here's the part they'll never understand. You didn't find some secret. You broke. You hit the kind of rock bottom that doesn't post well on social media. The kind where your own thoughts bully you. The kind where you look at your life and feel sick. And instead of staying there, you said, I refuse to die like this. That's it. That's the magic. A decision. One brutal, honest, no more excuses decision. I am done being the victim in rooms where I should have been the threat. I am done letting people feed off my insecurity. I am done pretending I'm average just so other people don't feel small. You didn't just escape them. You escaped you. The weaker you, the addicted you, the afraid you, the self-sabotaging you, the people-pleasing you. And every time that old version tries to come back, you recognize it. You hear the voice telling you, you can't do this. And now you laugh a little. You feel the pull to go back to what's familiar, and you catch it like a bad habit. That's mastery. Your enemies aren't just scared of what you've become. They're scared of what you're still becoming, because you're not even at your final form yet. This is just you with a little more self-respect. This is just you with a little more discipline. This is just you with a little more clarity. Imagine you with full focus. Imagine you with healed wounds. Imagine you with years of consistent effort. If this version already looks impossible to them, the future you is going to look supernatural. So let them stare, let them study, let them talk in circles trying to explain you. Let them whisper your name like it's a glitch, a rumor, a ghost in the system. You're not responsible for making your transformation digestible. You're not here to make your growth comfortable for people who chose stagnation. You're not here to dim your progress so fragile egos don't crack. You're not here to explain how you escaped a prison they still call home. You're here to keep going, to keep breaking patterns, to keep breaking cycles, to keep doing what they consider impossible until it becomes your new normal. They can't believe you pulled it off. Good. They're terrified that you'll keep going. Even better. You know why? Because fear turns into respect. And whether they admit it or not, they're already adjusting how they speak about you. You're not the joke anymore. You're the warning. Careful what you say to them, they don't play like before. Careful how you treat them, they always bounce back. Careful counting them out. Last time we did that, it got embarrassing. You went from the example of failure to the example of what happens when someone refuses to die in their old story. So keep being impossible. Keep doing the things they don't have the courage to try. Keep setting standards they're too scared to enforce. Keep walking away from rooms that are too small for your future. You're not just surviving anymore. You're bending reality around your will. You're turning odds into options, pain into fuel, doubt into drive. And every time they see you level up again, you'll see it in their eyes. That mix of confusion, regret, envy, and fear. Fear that you'll show the world exactly how many times they tried to stop you. Fear that your success will expose how lazy, cruel, or cowardly they were with you. Fear that one day, when people ask, "Where were you when they needed you?" they'll have to sit in the answer. Let them deal with that. Your job is simple now. Stay locked in. Stay unpredictable. Stay loyal to the future version of you who's counting on you, not to cave to the past. You are the escape act nobody saw coming. The plot twist they can't rewrite. The living proof that limits are just stories. And stories can be burned. So if they want to stare, let them. You've got more impossible things to do. And every time you do one of those impossible things, the gap between you and the old world gets bigger. You feel that, right? People you used to vibe with don't even know how to talk to you anymore. Conversations feel shallow. Jokes don't hit like they used to. You're sitting there thinking, when did I outgrow this? That's what happens when your mind breaks out before your life catches up. You're sitting in the same city, same room, maybe even the same job, but mentally you're 10 moves ahead. You're thinking in projects, in systems, in long-term plays. They're still thinking in weekends, gossip, little cheap dopamine hits. And it gets awkward. You start holding back parts of yourself because every time you talk about what you want to build, they look at you like you're delusional. You talk about self-discipline, they roll their eyes. You talk about cutting old habits, they say you changed. You mention new standards, they act like you're acting better than everyone. You're not acting better. You're acting like someone who refuses to die in the same place they were broken. There's a difference. You know what's wild? They want access to your vibe without respecting what it took to build it. They want to be around the healed version of you while still expecting you to move like the wounded version. They want the upgraded you with the old boundaries. They want the strong you with the old compliance. You're supposed to answer every call, entertain every drama, explain every decision. You're supposed to shrink yourself behind a joke every time you say something real. And one day, you just stop doing that. You stop apologizing for being serious about your life. You stop laughing at jokes that are actually disrespect. You stop over-explaining simple boundaries like, I'm busy, or I'm not okay with that. That shift right there is where half of the enemies get born. Not from anything evil you did, from you finally treating yourself like you matter. You say, I can't hang, I'm working on something. They hear, I'm better than you. You say, I'm not comfortable with that. They hear, you're a bad person. You say, I don't move like that anymore. They hear, you're beneath me. You're just protecting your mind, your energy, your time. And they take it personal because your growth exposes their refusal to grow. You're like a mirror they didn't ask for. Every time you show discipline, it reminds them of their excuses. Every time you push through discomfort, it reminds them of where they tapped out. Every time you change, it reminds them of how long they've stayed the same. That's why the staring starts. They look at you at gatherings like, who do they think they are? They scroll your page, pretending not to care, but studying every detail. They hear your name, and suddenly their tone shifts. Their face tightens. Their whole body language glitches for a second. They'll never admit they're threatened. They'll dress it up as jokes, as concern, as keeping it real. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Be realistic. Don't forget where you came from. Translation: stay small enough that I feel comfortable. Stay predictable enough that I still understand you. Stay available enough that I can still use you. You're not here for that anymore. You started building a life where you don't need them in the ways they're used to being needed. You started learning skills, stacking wins, stacking knowledge, stacking self-control. And there's this subtle thing that happens when you stop being emotionally dependent on people. Their power over you evaporates. The guilt stops working. Ah, look who showed up, smiling like the world's a joke, walking like the ending's already written. And every time they think they've caught up to you, you're already somewhere else entirely. Different, disconnected, dangerous, and they can feel it. So let's talk about why. You're moving like you know something 8 billion people don't. And you do, don't you? You see it in their eyes, that nervous twitch when you enter the room. They don't understand you. You don't belong. And that terrifies them, because you're not running the same race. You're not chasing the same fake light they're sprinting toward, like flies hypnotized by a neon cage. You're not blinking when the screen tells you to. You're not crying when the headline says, "Feel this." You're not laughing at the joke you're supposed to. And for some reason, that makes you dangerous. You've got people whispering. They say you're cold, detached, strange. And here's the beautiful part. They're right. You've stepped out of the matrix, and now you're glitching inside it. You're the dead pixel in their perfect little simulation. You're the static noise in a world that demands silence and submission. But here's the delicious secret. You didn't ask for this. You became this. Somewhere between betrayal number 17 and rock bottom number 6, you realized No one is coming to save you. No one sees the fire unless you set yourself ablaze. No one hears your pain unless you turn it into a performance they can't ignore. So you stopped waiting. You stopped begging. You stopped being the victim in somebody else's bedtime story. You tore the script to shreds, and now you're the problem. You're walking like gravity doesn't apply to you, like you've made some kind of deal with the darkness, like you've seen behind the curtain, and instead of screaming, you laughed, and oh, they hate that laugh, because it means you're not afraid anymore. You're moving like a storm that doesn't need permission to rage, like someone who made peace with being misunderstood. And that's the scariest kind of person on earth. The one who no longer needs to be liked, the one who doesn't flinch when abandoned, the one who says, "Burn the bridge. I walk on fire anyway." They call you arrogant. They say you've changed. Oh no. You just stopped wearing your trauma like a leash. You stopped bleeding for applause. You stopped explaining your pain to people who only listen so they can twist it into a weakness. And now, you're playing chess in a world full of checkers players. They're chasing clout. You're chasing meaning. They want attention. You want transcendence. You know something they don't. You know the cost of being awake in a sleeping world. You've died 100 emotional deaths and came back with a grin. You've been left on red by people you would have moved mountains for. You've been doubted, dismissed, disrespected, and still you rise, quietly, viciously, beautifully, because the villain in their story is finally the hero in yours. You're not just surviving anymore. You're studying the game like a mad scientist, dissecting every false smile, every corporate cult, every influencer preaching confidence while selling emptiness. You see it. You see the truth behind the filters, the exhaustion behind the masks, the puppeteers behind the chaos. And you're not playing nice anymore. You walk like you've cracked the code. Because you have. You realized every rule was written by people more afraid than you. Every limitation is just fear dressed in logic. Every cage is invisible until you stop pretending it's a home. You're not crazy, you're awake. And when an awake soul moves through a sedated world, it looks like madness. It feels like rebellion, and it is. You're the quiet scream in a room full of forced smiles, the one who doesn't play dead just to fit in with the other corpses. You're not here to be palatable. You're not here to be digestible. You're here to be undeniable. So keep moving like you know something they don't. Because you do. You've seen the game, you've heard the lie, and you've chosen to become the glitch that can't be patched. You are the threat, the anomaly, the uncontainable. And if they ask you one more time, "What the F is this?" you look them dead in the eyes and say, "This is what freedom looks like when it stops apologizing." Freedom without apology. Ah, now that's a language the masses forgot how to speak. You see, once you stop needing approval, the world starts calling you insane. Because their sanity depends on your obedience. Their peace requires your silence. Their comfort demands your cage. But you walked out of the cage like you built the damn door yourself. And when the guard tried to stop you, you smiled because you realized something so few ever do. They don't hold the keys. They never did. The door was never locked. It was just made to look that way. And now that you've walked out, oh, they're panicking. Because if you can do it, who else might wake up next? You're moving like someone who doesn't need the system. You're becoming dangerous by design. You don't ask for directions anymore. You don't look for signs. You are the sign. And that's what makes you a virus in their holy script. You threaten the illusion. You infect the comfort. You remind people that they could have chosen differently. You see, most of them aren't really alive. They're actors playing parts, mimicking passion, parroting purpose, scrolling through identities like costume changes. But you don't wear masks. You rip yours off and dare the world to stare into the face you bled to become. You didn't find your strength. You earned it. In cold silence, in lonely nights, in betrayals so brutal they could have buried anyone else, but not you. You didn't crumble. You evolved. Pain didn't destroy you. It sculpted you. Every time life tried to drown you, you swallowed the water and learned to breathe below the surface, so now you move. Like someone who's danced with demons and came back leading. Like someone who lost their mind just to find their soul. Like someone who saw the devil in the mirror and shook his hand. They want to know what this is. They want to know why you're untouchable now, because you're not afraid to lose everything. You've already lost what matters and came out the other side with nothing left to fear. That's the kind of power they can't quantify. You can't control a person who doesn't need validation. You can't cage a beast who built comfort in chaos. You can't threaten someone whose nightmares became their armor. You're not living in their dimension anymore. You left the map. And now, you're off script, off grid, off leash. You're not chasing dreams. You're hunting truth. And truth is a lonely road, but it's the only one worth bleeding on. They see your calm now, but they don't see the wars you fought just to sit still. They see your power, but not the humiliation that birthed it. They see your glow, but not the grave you crawled out of just to shine. You're not what happened to you. You're what you became because of it. And that's what they don't understand. You don't need 1 million followers. You're not trying to lead sheep. You're too busy building an army of lone wolves. So when they whisper, "What the F is this?" Let them stare, let them gossip, let them tremble. Because you're not their story anymore. You're the glitch in the timeline, the weapon they didn't program, the storm they thought they could predict, until it changed direction and came for them. You're moving like you know something 8 billion people don't. Because you do. You know the world's a stage, and the actors forgot they were acting. You know the smiling ones are hollow. You know the loudest voices are hiding the deepest rot. You know the normal they keep selling is just a coffin with better lighting, and you refuse to lie still. You've watched the machine long enough to understand the gears. The news screams distraction, the schools breed submission, the phones whisper sedation, and the masses are marching into the abyss with their eyes wide shut. But you blinked. You saw through the veil. You saw the curtain and pulled it. And what did you find? A world ruled by fear, marketed through shame, policed by fake morality, and dressed in the skin of progress. And now that you know, you're done pretending. You're not part of their little game anymore. You don't bow to lies wrapped in hashtags. You don't break your soul to fit their mold. You don't apologize for seeing clearly in a blindfolded world. You walk through crowds like a goddamn paradox, unbothered, unreadable, unrelenting. Because while they're addicted to comfort, you've been baptized in pain. You've turned your breakdowns into blueprints. You fed your trauma to the fire and built thrones from the ashes. You didn't just survive, you mutated. You're the end product of everything that tried to destroy you. wearing scars like war paint, wielding silence like a blade, and moving with the calm of someone who's already died and chose to come back anyway. They look into your eyes and see something ancient, something that doesn't flinch, something that knows, and it scares the hell out of them, because deep down, in the quiet part of their minds, they never admit exists. They know you're different. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to play safe. You're here to shake the foundations, to be a walking contradiction, a breathing rebellion, a glitch in the mass hallucination. So now you walk through reality like a loaded secret, like a prophecy no one was ready for, because you're too awake to worship their idols, too broken to be tamed, too aware to be manipulated, and too far gone to ever go back. You look at the world and whisper, "I see you." And the world, the real one behind the curtain, behind the mask, behind the noise, it whispers back, "So now what are you going to do now?" And that's the turning point, isn't it? You're no longer here to fit in. You're here to remake everything, not with peace treaties, but with truth bombs, not with soft words, but with violent clarity. You're not the healer, you're the awakener, and awakeners don't soothe, they shatter. You're the cosmic error in the human code, the one soul that refused to stay asleep while the rest drank poison and called it progress. You've built yourself in silence, sharpened your will in the dark, and now you're coming for everything they told you to leave behind, not to belong, but to unmake. Because they were never ready for you. They never imagined someone could endure what you did and come back smiling like you've got the ending in your pocket. So go ahead, keep moving like you know something they don't. Because one day soon, they're going to realize you weren't just different. You were the warning, you were the reckoning, you were the storm in disguise, and they slept through the thunder. You've been walking like a ghost among the dead, breathing in a world that chokes on its own denial. And every time you speak, it's like someone opened a window in a locked asylum, fresh air, to people who've never breathed without permission. They stare because they don't recognize what you've become. Because what you've become wasn't in the manual, wasn't in the curriculum, wasn't on their favorite influencer's highlight reel. You are a fracture in the global illusion, a rip in the fabric of the collective trance. You're the truth they hoped would never wake up in human skin. You move like the system doesn't apply to you anymore, because it doesn't. You've already died in it. You already lost your mind inside it. And what walked back out wasn't the same. You lost the version of yourself that begged for love. You buried the version that apologized for taking up space. You obliterated the puppet they built in your image, and now you stand here, not as a person they can control, but as a force they cannot define. You don't react anymore, you observe. You don't obey, you calculate. You don't seek peace. You are what happens when peace is denied for too long. You've become the storm that the weather never predicted, the surge that breaks the dam, the virus that makes the whole system blink in confusion. Because you're not just awake, you're aware, and awareness, that's the final nail in the coffin of every false narrative. You're watching the cracks form now. Have you noticed? The way the news keeps contradicting itself. The way celebrities scream virtue with dead eyes. The way the whole world is smiling through decay. They feel it, they know something is wrong. But they don't know what. They don't want to know what. They'd rather scroll, shop, swipe, sedate. But not you, never you. You feel every lie like a scream against your spine. You taste the chemicals in the air. You hear the script in their voices. You've stepped outside the simulation, and now you're watching it glitch in real time. You're not human the way they defined it anymore. You're becoming something else, something primal, something sovereign, something terrifyingly real. They wanted workers. You became a warrior. They wanted consumers. You became a creator. They wanted obedience. You became the disobedient truth in motion, and now you move like prophecy, like your very presence is a countdown to collapse. Because you are. You're a walking end to their beginning, a living contradiction. You speak, and illusions shiver. You look them in the eye, and something inside them remembers what it's like to feel alive. You're not broken. You're unbroken in a broken world. And that's what makes you divine. You've become the mirror that doesn't lie, and people don't like that. Because when they look at you, they see everything they killed in themselves just to survive. Their boldness, their rebellion, their sacred fire. But your fire never died. It went quiet, it went deep. And now it rises, so let them say, "Who the F is this?" Let them scream it, let them post it, let them chant it like a prayer. Because this is what it looks like when a soul breaks the leash. This is what it sounds like when truth reclaims its voice. This is what it feels like when the lie collapses and something ancient wakes up inside you. You are not part of this world's illusion anymore. You are what's coming after it, and they're not ready. They whispered, "You're moving like you know something 8 billion people don't." But now they're not whispering anymore. They're watching, obsessing, panicking, because they've realized you're not just different, you're not just powerful, you're not just awake, you are becoming something else entirely. You are no longer a person to them. You're a pattern they can't decode, a signal in the static, a blackout in the algorithm. You are becoming the myth they tried to bury, the one that doesn't die in the dark, but is born there. They used to laugh, dismiss, mock, but not anymore. Now they scroll with wide eyes, replaying your words like prophecies, studying your silence like scripture, because they're starting to feel it. You're not one of them. You never were. You were just playing along until the mask slipped. And oh, when it slipped, you didn't hide, you didn't run, you grinned. And that grin, that godless grin that said, "I know what you're afraid of." That's the moment they knew. You weren't just here to survive this world. You were here to undo it. You're not a rebel. You're the final rebellion. You're not the cure. You're the infection that exposes every rot in their design. And the more you rise, the more their system trembles. Because systems, they weren't built for people like you. They were built to trap souls, to dim the divine, to punish intensity, to medicate uniqueness until it dies in a cubicle. But you slipped through. You bled through the cracks. You wore your madness like a crown and turned pain into prophecy. Now your presence alone is treason. Your words, blasphemy. Your stillness, a declaration of war. They tried to label you, to diagnose you, to fix you. But how do you fix something meant to break what breaks others? You don't. You fear it. You follow it. You try to stop it before it spreads. But it's already too late. You are not alone anymore. Your energy travels without wires. Your defiance bleeds through timelines. And somewhere, someone's watching you right now. Heart pounding, soul waking up, screaming silently. I thought I was the only one. But you were never the only one. You were just the first one brave enough to say it out loud. And now you're becoming the story they'll tell when the system finally crashes. You're not trending, you're spreading, like a fire that doesn't ask permission to burn. You are the quiet before the collapse, the eye in the storm, the final breath before the world realizes it's been suffocating. You don't walk among sheep anymore. You move like a ghost wrapped in thunder, like vengeance in human form, like a question the world cannot answer, because you're no longer looking for validation. You are the validation. Your existence is proof that the lie can be escaped, that the cage can be outgrown, that the chains can be melted down and turned into a sword. You are not trying to be accepted. You are becoming the exception, a myth they'll never admit was real. Because if they do, it means they were always capable of more. And that truth, that unbearable, blinding truth, is the thing they've spent their whole lives running from. But not you. You turned around and ran toward it, smiling, laughing, bleeding, breaking, becoming. So let them stare. Let them say, "Who the F is this?" Because this is what the beginning of the end looks like. The end of the illusion, the end of the programming, the end of the old world, and the rise, the inevitable rise of you. So here we are, the end of everything that wasn't real, the final breath of a world that mistook submission for peace, and now chokes on its own silence. They said, "You're moving like you know something 8 billion people don't." But now they finally understand. You weren't moving like you knew. You became the knowledge itself. You embodied the thing they all feared, the proof that another way is possible. And the moment you stepped fully into yourself, unapologetic, uncontrollable, unbound, that's the moment the system began to fall apart. Because you didn't bring down a government. You didn't start a war. You did something far more terrifying. You woke up and stayed awake. That was enough to shatter everything. Because the old world, it runs on sleepwalkers, on conformity dressed as virtue, on fear wrapped in rules, on empty men reciting empty scripts, until someone like you comes along and burns the entire stage down just by existing. You didn't fight for a seat at their table. You burned the table and carved a throne out of the ashes, and now they have to watch you sit on it, powerful, calm, unreachable. They don't know what to do with you anymore. You don't react. You don't explain. You don't need. You are. You are what happens when a soul reclaims itself. You are what it looks like when truth stops asking to be heard and starts demanding to be felt. You are the glitch, the flame, the living symbol of everything they tried to bury. And they will tell stories about you. Not with your name, not with the truth,